everyone, welcome to another episode of Women Techmakers Montreal Podcast. I'm Stefania, and with me there is Leticia and Michelle. Leticia.
Yeah, hello everyone, I'm Leticia, and today we are going to explore the journey of building a career in AI, and for that we have an amazing guest with us today to share her experiences. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. Could you start by telling us a little bit about your journey?
Well, thank you so much, Leticia and Stefania, for the opportunity to be here with you. Well, basically, I just finished a master professional master in computer science at Université de Montréal and at Mila. However, my background is in economics. Many years ago, I studied back home in the Dominican Republic, and I work mainly in the public policy sector. But I still had the curiosity and was interested of how to study this, get more involved into the AI environment. So firstly, I pursue a master at Fordham University in data analytics, and that was the first time that I got in touch with these concepts of machine learning. It was also the first time when I was learning to program, etc. And when I get back home again during the COVID pandemic, I still had this curiosity of how to deploy these algorithms for how to see the integration of economics, AI, etc. And that's why when I discovered Mila, I decided, okay, why not? Let's take a shot. And somehow my first master helped me to make the transition. And now that I'm here, after 2 years, I started an internship with a professor right now, and we are studying the interaction of or how we can apply multi-agent reinforcement learning in policymaking.
That's amazing. I also did a transition, I moved from civil engineers to data science. I know a bit about this transition, so the challenge involved, but I want to hear from you. What were some of the biggest challenges in that transition, economics into AI, and how did you find your place in the field? You did that 10 years ago, you said?
Yeah. I started first economics, well, basically 10 years ago. That's a lot of time. But making the transition can be scary, especially, for example, when I was surrounded with many different students from different countries, and when I was asking about the backgrounds, many of them were from actually computer science or mathematics, and I was like, I haven't met people from other different backgrounds, so it can be scary at first. I doubt myself a lot. I was questioning myself a lot, am I in the right place or not? Did I took the best decision? Because sometimes when we're already young, we decide, okay, this is the career path that I want to follow, and but no one prepares you to make life shifts or transitions. But somehow, and after spending time here and working with professors or also sharing my experience with other people, I see that actually there is a beauty of this, of the many interdisciplinary fields, how we apply these tools. And I think that that's the most important thing, because AI is not just about applying intelligent systems, it's also how can we integrate them in many different fields, many different areas, because what we want to create is an impact. How can we create this? How can we integrate this in, for example, in not in economics, but also in healthcare? How can we use the systems to take better decisions, to make process more efficiently, not only for profitable, for the companies. Also, and that's something that I liked a lot about Mila, that they care a lot about responsible AI, how we can create an impact as in a community as a whole. And I think that this can be also possible in part if we have many people from many interdisciplinary fields.
That's true, and I think especially when we work in technology and AI, I'm always finding exciting, and it's something that I keep repeating also with my mentees. The beauty of AI is that you have many different entry points. And we encourage to have those entry points, the difference of experience, because since we're building tools, the more variety of people and profiles we can have when we build those tools, the better will be for, in general, the humanity. So I myself had several transitions for different industries, and I know that many people, when they transition, they think that they are not enough, especially when they compare to other profiles that, for example, have been in the industry for, 10 years, 20 years. So we talk a lot about imposter syndrome. And I would like to know if you ever felt that, and especially how you navigate those moments. And if you find it something, I would say, like a natural consequence, and how we can deal with that.
Of course. Thank you for your question. And I think that we should talk more about it, because it brings more about our humanity, behind the titles of, AI researcher, of AI engineer, but at the same time, we are humans. Of course, I have felt it in many periods of my life, specifically here when I was telling you, when I was comparing myself with, these people have the background in this and that. How can I, not just stand out, but how can I offer something, But something that helped me, even though for me, if you find the solution or the cure of imposter syndrome, let me know. But something that helps me is first to keep in mind, and that's why this will help me to take the decisions that I've taken. For example, the first decision when I decided to first pursue my first master's and then to come here, I always tell myself that fear is temporary, because this is how our brains are designed, but regret can stay forever. And that's something that I ask myself, am I willing to, in the next 5-10 years, ask myself what could have been? And this is something that I discussed with some of my close friends that I made here, that they also, even though they have accomplished many great things, some of them, they are already finished their PhDs, for example, they said, is this something that you have to face every day? And, but what makes the difference is if you allow this fear to paralyze you, or you just take action even when afraid or not. But also something important that you mentioned is building community. Somehow it can be maybe hard depending of where you are located, of how big your group is. For example, I came alone. I was of the few Latinos from actually my group at the university. And for me, I had to break the ice with many of my classmates, getting to know each other, getting interested about the culture, etc. And that's how I started building my own community step by step. And having that support system can help you a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think joining communities and participating of communities and seeing people doing the same helps a lot. Now, shifting a little bit from this topic and moving into your research. So you're currently research thoughts on multi-agent reinforcement learning for policymaking, right? So how do you see AI research like this connecting back to real-world impact, whether in policy, society, or empowering underrepresented communities?
Yeah, actually, many of today's policy challenges, either designing equitable tax systems or allocating resources, or, for example, trying to fight climate change, actually, we can see them as multi-agent problems. For example, in economic theory, the agents are ourselves, like individuals, the government, companies, institutions. Overall, we basically are the agents. But in these problems represent different actors with different incentives, different capabilities. However, there is an urgent need for coordination. And something that came up with now that we are seeing a growing interest and trend in applying this or doing research in this field, in this area, because it can give us like a test bed on how to design, of how to look for optimal policies. For example, when a government sets some tax rate or some policy, the agents are going to respond somehow. The agents are going to say the population. But when the population the behavior of the population shifts, also the behavior of the government or the planner also shifts. So there is an important coordination and co-adaptation between the agents. And that's something that can be exploited with the use of these algorithms on reinforcement learning overall, especially in the case of multi-agents. Like, we need to see the coordination and co-adaptation of these agents. And like I said, there is a growing interest and trend of these applications. And when you ask about whether in policy or society, how can this area empower underrepresented communities, I think that by modeling these complex interactions, this research area can contribute to build more responsive policies. Because, like I said in the beginning, at the end, what we are trying to do is to represent the interaction of the agents in the real world. And in the real world, we are dealing with people, but we have different incentives. We respond different to many dynamics. So I think that this is something that I'm starting, and I'm getting really excited. I think that there is lots of potential that can be exploited for the common good.
Thank you so much. It was super interesting, and wow, we have a lot of stuff to learn, I will say. That's quite exciting. So thank you so much, Michell, for sharing your experience and insights with us today. Thank you for everything you made us learn, and especially thank you for all the discussion around imposter syndromes, because again, we keep hearing about that, and it's important that we can discuss that freely. So thank you so much. Yeah. And Leticia, tell me.
Yeah,
it's your time to tell me.
Yeah, I have a quick reminder before we go. So, yeah. You can expect a brand new episode every month, okay? So we'll be covering different topics across tech, design, data, life, and transition career and beyond. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episodes.
Yeah, and as always, we keep going. Probably you were there on April 18 for our annual event. There will be one every year. So make sure that you know when it is happening. Make sure that you sign up to be a speaker, or maybe, who knows, you want to support us as an individual or with your company. We are still accepting sponsorship for an event that we are organizing. So if you want to help us, please send us a message, and it will be our pleasure to find a way to collaborate. So thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you, Leticia.
Yes.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Stefania. Thanks.
Thank
Michelle.
you. Thank you, Leticia. And thank you, Stefania.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening. See you next time. Bye.